In this video, I will break down auxiliary verbs. I will talk about auxiliary verbs which exist in the German language. Reveal the purpose of auxiliary verbs in the language and how they are used in various grammatical structures. This is part 1 of a 2-part series video. Auxiliary verbs, also known as helping verbs, and in the German language known as Hilfsverben, are crucial for constructing a wide range of grammatical structures. Auxiliary verbs don't carry the main meaning of the action themselves but instead help the main verb to express different tenses, moods, and voices. There are 3 auxiliary verbs in German. Haben, which means to have. Sein, which means to be. Werden, which means to become. Auxiliary verbs serve 2 vital purposes in German language construction. The first purpose is in forming compound tenses, and there are a total of 4 compound tenses in German. Perfekt, Plusquamperfekt, Futur 2, Future 1. The second purpose is in forming the passive voice. We first look at how auxiliary verbs are used to assist in forming the perfect tense. This is the most common past tense in spoken German. It's formed with either haben or sein and the past participle of the main verb. The option to use either haben or sein depends on the main verb. In forming the perfect tense, sein is used with verbs that express movement from one place to another. These are verbs like fahren, gehen, kommen. Sein is also used with verbs that express a change of state. These are verbs like einschlafen, which means to fall asleep. The change of state stems from the idea that at one point a person is awake and in the next instant they are asleep. The process of falling asleep indicates a change of state and hence the need to use the auxiliary verb, sein. Other verbs which express a change of state are aufwachen, which means to wake up, and the verb sterben, which means to die. On the other hand, the auxiliary verb haben is used with verbs that do not express a change of location or state. Example verbs are essen, which means to eat. When you eat, you are probably sitting in the dining room or in a restaurant, hence the verb does not express a change in location. Likewise with the verb tanzen, which means to dance. You will probably move around the room but not literally change your location. I hope you get the distinction in the use of either haben or sein in forming compound tenses. We now look at a practical example sentence where the auxiliary verb haben is used to form the perfect tense. The sentence, Ich habe gegessen, translate to I have eaten. This sentence is describing something which happened in the past, and to form the past tense, an auxiliary verb haben is used together with the past participle of the main verb gegessen. The purpose of the auxiliary verb habe is to assist the past participle of the main verb gegessen to express that the sentence is in the perfect tense. By observing that the sentence has an auxiliary verb and a past participle of the main verb, we can immediately know that this sentence is describing something which happened in the past. Remember that in the opening of the video we said, auxiliary verbs don't carry the main meaning of the action themselves but instead help the main verb to express different tenses. The main meaning of the action is then deduced from the main verb gegessen. Here the auxiliary verb haben is used instead of sein, because the main verb essen does not express a change in location or state. Another example is, Sie hat ein Buch gelesen, which translate to she has read a book. It also uses the auxiliary verb haben conjugated as hat. Bear in mind that Ich habe gegessen can be translated as either I have eaten or I ate. Both translations are correct. Likewise, Sie hat ein Buch gelesen can be translated as either she has read a book or she read a book. We look at another example where the auxiliary verb sein is used to form the perfect tense. The sentence, Ich bin gegangen, translate to I have gone or I went. The purpose of the auxiliary verb sein is to assist the past participle of the main verb, gegangen, to express that the sentence is in the perfect tense. Here the auxiliary verb, sein, is used instead of haben, because the main verb, gehen, expresses a change in location. Another example is, ist eingeschlafen, which translate to he has fallen asleep. It also uses the auxiliary verb, sein, conjugated as ist. The second compound tense is the plusquamperfekt. We look at how auxiliary verbs assist in forming the plusquamperfekt tense and analyze practical examples. The plusquamperfekt is used to describe an action that happened before another action in the past. It's formed with the past tense of haben or sein and the past participle of the main verb. The past tense of haben is hatte, which translates to had. The past tense of sein is war, which translate to was. Do not be confused when you see the verb sein. The verb has many forms when conjugated. Ich bin, du bist, es ist, wir sind, bin, bist, ist, sind, are all forms of sein. We now look at a practical example sentence where the auxiliary verb, hatten, is used to form the plusquamperfekt tense. The sentence, ich hatte gegessen, bevor kam, translate to I had eaten before he came. The part of the sentence in plusquamperfekt, ich hatte gegessen, is describing something which happened in the past, before another action which is also in the past. In the example sentence, we see that someone came, but before someone came something had already happened, which is I had eaten. This clarification is brought about by the auxiliary verb, hatte, which helps the past participle of the main verb, gegessen, to express that the sentence is in plusquamperfekt. Here the auxiliary verb, hatte, is used instead of war, because the main verb essen does not express a change in location or state. Here is another example where the auxiliary verb war is used to form the plusquamperfekt tense. The sentence, war schon gegangen, als ich ankam, translate to he had already left when I arrived. The purpose of the auxiliary verb war is to assist the past participle of the main verb gegangen to express that the sentence is in the plusquamperfekt tense. Here the auxiliary verb war is used instead of haben, because the main verb gehen expresses a change in location. In case this video sparked your interest in tenses, there is a whole video about the German simple past tense which is called the Präteritum, which you can find in the link. The link to the video is also pasted in the description. Watch out for part 2 of the video on auxiliary verbs. And don't forget to show some love by subscribing and liking the video. This would really help me with the infamous YouTube algorithm. Bis zum nächsten Mal.